You are now listening to the Be Your Own #Love Goals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
We just want you to remember that every person, regardless of identity, wants these three things: belonging, authenticity, and love.
And after a decade of partnership, we've learned to co-create these things and so much more.
So from wherever you're listening, we're going to go on a journey of becoming our own #Love Goals. Now let's get into this episode. Hey, it's Moe Ari
and Tiffany,
and you are listening to the Be Your Own #Love Goals podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Before we got this episode started, I was talking to Tiffany about the episode, and I was just telling her, like, she's been acting very affectionate and very emotional and really in tune. I think it has something to do with some sex we had this weekend where it was like really connected. And Tiffany goes, and I didn't get any more of it. And I was like, wow.
Did I say that?
Wow. You actually did. Okay. Don't try and act like that now. So this brings us to the subject at hand. Mm-hmm. How important is sex to your relationship? I think in the beginning of our relationship, and certainly I think to this day, we have had differing views on the Nope, I'm going to take that back. I don't think we have different views on the importance of sex to our relationship. Maybe we have different desires around sex and different ways of approaching sexual intimacy. Yeah. But I'll say by and large, we have the same level of importance. How we go about it is different. So I wanted to pose this question. How important is sex to a relationship? And we can talk more generally because we know we're on the same page now, but it took us a while to get there. And I think that so many people don't start off on the same page about the importance of sex to a relationship. So I'll let you start by, sharing what you've learned from our relationship over time and, what comes up for you as you're thinking about what you said to me just before I press record. I wish I had it for you all.
I definitely did say that. So I feel like I have arrived at a point where I truly understand the role that sex plays in relationship. I feel like I didn't always honor that.
Yeah.
I knew it was important, but I didn't honor the impact of what it meant to be in a relationship. And so as a person who was raised very much around people and family and community that didn't talk about sex, I had no meter for what it meant. Like, I just knew, you have sex when you're married. Some people really like sex or they have sex a lot. Like, it was very abstract what sex was. And so I didn't have a lot of examples or even a lot of conversation about how intentional sex can be, how connecting sex can be. And even as a person who is very spiritual, how spiritual sex is. And throughout the course of our relationship, I've really grown to understand that. And I think even the conversation about how spiritual sex is, that was always so present for me, but I didn't understand that's what was happening. And so I'll give the example of, back in Chicago, we would go to church, right?
I'm gonna let you tell your story.
We would go to church together or even Bible study, and I would just feel so connected after it. And I would always want to have sex. I was always so aroused by it. And, I would make jokes with Mo and I would say now I understand why our parents were having those after church naps on Sundays. But in all seriousness though, I didn't understand how me feeling spiritually connected or, refreshed, how much then I wanted to connect with you sexually, right? And so it's funny, but that was always present, but I didn't associate sex with being spiritual.
Yeah.
So long story short, I have grown to understand the impact and role of sex. And it is one that very much, like early on, I was like, well, you have sex, but I didn't understand how foundational it could be. Not that it's everything, but it is a great foundation. It's a great cushion. It's a great connection point in a relationship.
Yeah. I think first, I don't even want to think about those Sunday afternoon naps that our parents,
it was happening.
Oh my God.
You know it.
Oh my God. Okay. You got so many of our listeners cringing right now. It's this visceral
Y'all know what I'm talking about. They came home and shut the door. Okay? Carry on.
And we were probably just so happy to not be at a 3 o'clock or a 5 o'clock service. We ain't
exactly. Care. We did not.
Left them alone. That's funny. Okay. I can't, I'm just like stuck. But yeah, sex is like so it's just really interesting that sex, because of our culture, has a lot of times been associated with a lot of shame, or it's been downplayed in so many ways. So I think people often feel uncomfortable even saying that sex is important to them. Because for most people, majority of your life, you're told to not want that. So then when you get into a long-term committed relationship or marriage or whatever your relationship looks like, it's a gear shift to have to then be like, I can want this. I should want this. And if I want this in this relationship, it's okay. And my partner is going to want that I want it. And we're going to want it together.
Yeah.
And it's just not, I would say it is not very, we don't, like you said, we don't talk about this a lot prior to long-term relationships. And so often sex is downplayed in importance. Like, you shouldn't want that. Don't focus on that. Don't focus on that. So you have a lot of people, by the time they get into a long-term committed relationship, are like, is this supposed to be something that is okay? And should it impact our relationship the way that it does? And then, so I think when there's any kind of discrepancy in desire, so that in a relationship, so meaning that somebody has a different sex drive than the other person or vice versa, whenever those issues come up in relationships, a lot of times you find a person, at least one person in the relationship going, it shouldn't be that important. Yeah. We should not be having this problem. But it's like, but these relationships are existing within a society and a culture that is not making it okay to even want sex. So how do we even know what our real desires are? Exactly. Whenever there's a desire discrepancy in a relationship around sex, we have to peel back the information, the layers of information that we've learned that have made it hard to even want to engage in sex. Then we'll be on a more even playing field for what desire even looks like. Yeah. I say that because I feel like that came up a lot in our relationship. And I think particularly for you, because my idea when I got married, or my expectation, which wasn't intentional, was that, we would just have sex regularly. We're living together. It's no parents around. Like, we're doing our own thing. We don't have kids yet. We're going to have sex all the time. Like, smash, smash, smash. Smash, smash. Or love, love, love. Yeah. Just R&B music all the time. That's why I was thinking it was going to be like. Now, that wasn't even realistic for myself. So that was a ridiculous level of pressure to put on myself to be all like romance all the time, right? I would have to have a very large rose budget. Yeah. It would just be a lot. Yeah. It also wasn't realistic because I never asked you what your desire was or how important that was to you. So we had to have a lot of those conversations very early.
We did. And I feel like, because I think intentionality is so important. And I say that because in the beginning of our relationship, it was very much like we getting it in. Like, it was a regular amount of sex happening, a lot, right? And that's just, I won't say we haphazardly fell into that, but like that's just what it was. And so then you could feel like there's not really a need to have an intentional conversation then about what that looks like, because it's happening.
That's accurate.
And life will throw you curveballs. There will be transitions. There will be evolutions. And without the intentional conversation or the intentional plan, you can't really get through those moments where it's not how it started.
Yeah.
And so I realized, I think I am realizing or have realized how not having that level of intentionality, and also not really tapping into my own sexuality and my desires. Mm-hmm. So much of it was like, well, okay, when you marry, this is supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen like this, or, you know, like you have sex with your husband. And I say that specifically because I heard a lot of like, you have sex with your husband. Mm. Very like, not focused on pleasure.
Yeah.
Very much like, you have to do this thing for your husband.
Not you all have sex together.
No.
You have sex with him.
Or it's very much like cook dinner for him. Yeah. Not that we're all going to eat this food. Like, it was very much like that. And so I very much enjoy sex. It is very pleasurable. It's amazing. So to experience with you. So to experience this level of pleasure, not ever had anyone talk about it. I think I didn't know what to do with it. Yeah. Because on the one hand, this feels great and it's amazing. But what, like, is it okay? Like, am I a freak? Like, what is going on? I think I just was at a moment of like, not.
Oh, yes and yes.
Not really understanding what to do with it. And being so impacted or influenced by these narratives that have been, you know, ingrained in me for so long. I feel like subconsciously some part of me was like, but it has to be like this. This is what it's supposed to be like. Mm-hmm. And I am I'm a recovering person from those narratives because I like sex.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And it is it is an amazing cushion for things that come up. And yes, I did make that comment before this episode, and it's accurate. It's accurate. Yes, I feel connected. Yes, I want to touch you. I feel affectionate. And that is a feeling that I want to be sustained.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's unfortunate that I didn't understand that in the beginning. But now that I know, it's just a thing that I keep working on. It's a thing that I keep working on. And I just encourage anyone that's listening, if you're feeling, you know, similar to me and not really understanding the importance or the role or even the impact, that it is important. I think it's important to the degree that it is important to the both of you. Like, whatever that looks like for you all, that's the role that sex plays. And you can create what it looks like for you. Yeah. What regular sex means to you might not mean the same thing it means to me. Like, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. And like, I love that you're saying like how it looks to each individual person in their relationship with their own bodies and their relationship to the people that they have sex with, whether or not it's making love or it's having sex or whatever else you want to call it. That has to do with you and your relationship to it. We can't say that there is one way of going about this, you know? So I say be your own sex goals.
Yes.
Like I just
in all the ways.
Because I think sex doesn't have to be limited. And so one thing that we've learned throughout the course of our relationship is that it's okay to explore. Explore the importance. The importance might change over time. How you have sex is going to change. So maybe connecting and getting head from your partner is so important to you in the beginning because you may not have had any other partners that wanted to do that. Then over time, that significance might fade because, you know, wore it out. Now, your partner on top of you feels so intimate because you can feel their skin and it just like is amazing. And you're like, this is next level. And I think your relationship will just keep evolving. So I say test the significance or explore the significance of sex and different ways of having sex over time in your relationship, especially for queer people, because there are so many ways to have sex, at least for us, because we're just like so often so open to all the different ways. For a lot of cis hetero couples, you know, the penetrative sex is like the only way that's primarily focused on. And so sometimes we can miss a lot of other ways that sexual intimacy and connection can happen, which can then mean that our conversations around the value of sex or the desire is limited. Because again, if a lot of the options are off the table for how we can have sex, can I truly assess what the desire is? My partner, let's say I'm a cis het man, with a wife, and let's say my wife is having some desire discrepancy, as in like she's like the both of us are differing on how we want to engage, how often. So maybe she's like lower desire and I'm higher desire. That's typically what happens in cisgender hetero couples. She might just be tired of having penetrative sex with me all the time, and maybe she wants some head. And I quite often I feel like if you offer a woman in this situation head, she's not gonna say no. Usually that's what happens. I want listeners to kind of like put this in the if you're on Spotify, you have the opportunity to put to answer the poll. And then if you're on YouTube, go ahead and write in the comments. I don't think I'm wrong about this.
I don't think so.
Most women are not going to turn down some head. I'm just saying, whenever we don't have more options for how sex can look on the table, sometimes our conversations around desire discrepancy are off. Because it might not be that you don't want to have sex. You might want something different with regard to sex. You might want more role play. You might want more foreplay. You might want some music playing. You might want to be able to take a bath first. You might want the kids to go to bed earlier. There are all these other variables that impact the nature of our sexual relationship over time. And we've learned this a lot in our relationship. So what we do is we make sure that our daughter goes to sleep at her time. She is tired by 7:30 anyway. So by 7:30, we're like, okay, you're in bed. That gives us a lot of time in the evening together to connect, where it's not like, okay, the baby went to bed at 9:30. I'm trying to get it in at 9:45. Like, who has, you were just coddling a toddler. Sometimes your partner might have been breastfeeding, you were chest feeding, or maybe you didn't even eat dinner, but you're like, let's just get that in. It's just not sexy. And so sometimes the desire discrepancy is about, we haven't really been creating quality time for this. We haven't created the space in our relationship. We haven't created all of the necessary parameters that will make sex thrive in our relationship. I could get hyped up on this. So
no, I absolutely. And while you were talking, it made me think of me in the context of our relationship. I feel like sometimes, let's say it's been a longer period of time before we've had sex. And we do have sex, and then I'm like, oh my God, like, that was amazing. Now I feel so connected. And so I feel like sometimes I forget. And maybe forget is not the right word, but there's not a connection to how connected or important sex is to me and to our relationship. Does that make sense? So how would you say how does a person in relationship stay connected even through the busyness of life, the transitions of life, whatever might be going on, external from the relationship, external to sex? How do you continue to honor the importance of sex? And I feel like I'm having a moment right now where I think this is true for me. Like, you can get so consumed by everything else that's happening that sex can, you can put that on the back burner, but every single time you engage, you lean in, you're connected. It feels amazing. It's pleasurable, but I don't know. It's like that thing for me is a thing that has often been put on the back burner when all of these other things are happening. So my question is, how do you stay connected to how important it is?
You ready for my answer?
I'm ready.
Y'all ready for this?
I'm ready.
When we put sex on the back burner, oftentimes what is signaling to us is that we put our own pleasure and our own joy on the back burner.
Say that again. Please say that again.
Oftentimes, when we are putting sex on the back burner, we're getting caught up in all of the things that are happening in our lives other than taking care of this important aspect of our relationship. We are often putting pleasure and joy, intimacy, and other things like that, vulnerability on the back burner. And it's usually happening for an intentional reason. Now, that reason is going to vary from relationship to relationship. Maybe you're going through grief. And you're not accessing pleasure right now and joy. So you block out all joy and pleasure. That's often what's happening. Maybe we're going through a difficult transition at work. Maybe we're really worked up about what's happening with our kids in school. Sex requires a level of presence that's almost like meditation. You know how so many people that start a meditation practice and they say, I can't get my mind to stop going. A lot of times that happens for people in sex. They'll say, my mind, I just keep thinking about so many things like work and all this other stuff. I can't be present. So a lot of times what is happening when we are not wanting to engage in sex is we're not wanting to slow down and tune in to pleasure, to joy, to the present moment. It's the same thing that happens when you got, people, I'm guilty, workaholics. We don't want to stop working. We don't want to take a vacation. As soon as we get to a vacation, we don't know what to do with ourselves. As soon as people retire, they don't know what to do with themselves. We don't want to be tuned into our pleasure and our joy because we were taught for so long to put that off for success. Fun, games, that's child's play. That's a childish thing. Put away childish things. Pursue success. Pursue all these other things instead of pleasure and joy. So we were taught that sex becomes one of those things.
And, I know there's lots of conversations around self-care twirling around, and we can digest them and dissect them. And I feel like one of the most beautiful things I hear about self-care is, first of all, I feel like sex can be a form of self-care.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying now. And I think oftentimes some of the excuses I hear for people that are saying that they can't prioritize themselves or can't take care of themselves, myself included, I don't have time.
Yeah.
And, I challenge that the time is not going to just appear. You have to be intentional and you have to create that time and space. And I feel like as it relates to sex, you have to honor the importance. You might have to schedule it. You might have to plan it. You might have to buy that new lingerie you want. You gotta you have to put some work in potentially for it to happen. It might not just appear, but that doesn't mean that it's not important. And so I hear you saying that in order to stay connected to the importance or that desire that you have to prioritize yourself and take care of yourself. With sex being one of those things that just can be that.
Yes. In a society where we were taught to prioritize everything else, we have to plan vacations.
Yes.
We have to plan self-care. We have to plan anything that has to do with joy because our lives we've been taught to set up our lives around everything but. Now, the work in our relationship has to been co-create lives full of joy and love and authenticity and belonging. And so we want every aspect of our lives together and individually to be centered around this kind of joy and pleasure. But that doesn't mean we're not doing this very infinitely long, hard work of unlearning what we have been taught in our society. But the more you do that in every aspect of your lives, the more you'll see these pockets where you're easily able to slide into pleasure and joy without thinking about it. But until you get to that place, you'll have to do this really long, hard work because we've been taught from day one. focus on the thing I'm telling you to focus on. Focus on school. Focus on your books. Focus on your studies. While the kid just wants to frolic. So we are getting these messages from very early. Yeah. And it's carrying into adulthood. Yeah. When we just want to play, we don't let ourselves do that. When we just want to dance, we sit in the corner like this. Have you ever watched a 2-year-old at a party when music comes on? They just let their bodies go. They don't care how they look. They just be... because that's our natural inclination. Yeah. But we've been taught to suppress that. And the same thing for sex.
We have.
Even when we get with somebody and we can feel our bodies responding to them being in the room, we just go like this.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no more.
Yeah, no more. Because why am I depriving myself of this thing that I know? I mean, sometimes it feels like medicine. Like, I'm deprived.
That's because of me, y'all.
Why would I deprive myself of this thing?
Yeah.
Why? And I would just like to offer that no matter how small you might feel the step is into creating, a pattern or a life where you prioritize yourself and you prioritize sex, it's important and it matters.
Yeah.
You were talking about how Nova is in bed at a particular time every night. And we have that time to ourselves. We're not having sex every single night, but it is an opportunity. We've created that space. It's a boundary. It's a standard that we put into place. And that could be applicable across all types of things that you do for yourself. But that small thing is a routine that we have created that sets the space. Like, even if we're not having sex every single night, we have created that space. We have said this time is important for us.
Mm-hmm. And then we do other intentionally pleasurable things.
Exactly.
With regard to our own self-care and our own rest. A lot of times if Nova is in bed one time, you're able to go take a bath, eat your little sushi in your bath. We have other episodes about that, but you do your intentional self-care.
Yeah.
And I'm able to draw and do other things. And it's, again, going back to how we have to now, because our society is structured in this way, we have to actually schedule the time for self-care, rest, joy, pleasure, and then all the pleasurable things will come in.
And there's nothing wrong with scheduling it. I used to think that it was a bit odd when I would hear people say, we schedule sex. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with having an intentional conversation. Now, this is a no judgment zone, right?
This is a no judgment zone, but my face is a little judgy.
What were you about to say?
If you say 7:30 on the dot, let's go. I don't agree. That wouldn't work for me, let's say.
Yeah, I would add that.
When they say schedule, I'm really hoping they're giving themselves ample time and creating intentional dates and ambiance.
Yes, that's
where
what I mean.
Sex is on the table, but it's not like 7:30, get your engine revving, because right then.
Yeah, it don't work like that. Not for me.
I've heard people say that that's how their situation goes, and it's not working for them.
Yeah, so when I say schedule, I mean very like creating the space and time and
for pleasure.
Not 7:35, meet me in the bedroom stat. No.
Now,
I mean,
if you've been working on it all day.
Yes, but not just for me.
Not every time it couldn't be like
that.
But I'm going to try that. I'm going to let y'all know how it goes after she talked all of this.
I was just saying that it is okay if you feel like you need to schedule it. Like, just like you schedule a spa appointment or you schedule any other thing, like, it's okay to say, okay, this needs to happen someday this week. I'm going to create the space for it to happen. I think that it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not even just needs, like I desire. That desire is so important, because we have to keep tapping into our sensuality and our desire for pleasure. Not like I need to, like somebody's forcing me to, but I want to. I desire.
Yeah. That's a great reframe.
Yeah, and just continuing to tune into our desire in relationship. Is it okay if I pause this episode right there?
Yes, I feel like we could go on and on and on. Lots of angles, but yeah, we can pause.
Yeah. Well, this has been a really great conversation. Thank you so much for being so open, as always. I'm looking forward to putting in place what we talked about here today.
Tonight. After the baby goes to bed.
But not after Sunday, on Sunday afternoon.
After church, why not?
Oh my gosh. I can't unsee that. This has been Be Your Own #Love Goals with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
Y'all have a great day and be well.
Bye. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Video episodes are on YouTube and Spotify.
If you want your question included in an upcoming episode, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Be Your Own Love Goals or check out our website at lovegoalspodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye.